Awesome. All right, so let's go to a question we have from the audience. I'm sorry if I butcher anybody's names because I'm just reading them. This happens on Twitch too. So this is from Chris Hadley, Snobby Robot. For both of you, is comedy still the best and most viable genre for short form content? Or do other genres, drama, horror, thriller, etc., have an equal shot at visibility in the industry? I have my opinion on this, but you guys go first.
Should I this is such a fantastic question, Chris. Something that I didn't mention is the way that I actually started working at Group 9 Media was because I started working, exactly 4 years ago. It was right before the election, for a comedy production studio called JASH that had started out as like a digital first comedy studio. It started out as a YouTube channel, and it was co-founded by Sarah Silverman, Reggie Watts, Tim and Eric, and Michael Sarah. And we, it evolved over the years to being strictly just, short form digital content. Then I joined when they started developing things more for television and feature films. Then we started partnering with NowThis on a lot of things because the politics at our company was very progressive. And then we were acquired by Group 9, and very, very gradually over the last 3 years, all of my love for comedy is just kind of absorbed into these other formats, or these other genres. So I would say the majority of what I work on is unscripted, but we are often working with talent who have a comedy background, regardless of whether it's like, for example, a show for Riskier, which is our science and technology brand. We're currently casting for a talk show that might be on their linear channel. That's kind of like almost a Last Week Tonight, but for science. And so we're working with comedians for that. But when you say horror, there was a half-hour scripted kind of horror comedy show that we were pitching for a little bit, and it was with an actress named I can't believe I'm blanking on her last name, Julie. She was on Orange Is the New Black. Hold on one second. And she had these amazing, basically these like really scary kind of horror, self-made videos that she was posting on social media that people thought were like, she was trying to make it appear as though, in your like classic Blumhouse, horror movie, that they were like really happening to her. And then we kind of started developing with her on a half an hour series that we unfortunately weren't able to sell. But I feel like if you can be creative and if you can kind of take the tools that you have right now to create something that feels very authentic, I think that across the genres that there would be legs for whatever you're building.
I would. I have a sort of more complicated answer because of one reason. First of all, Snobby Robot, great name. Assuming it's not your real name. I would say that like when we assumed starting a few years ago that comedy is obviously fits so well to short form. It is so consumable. It can be standalone. It can be serialized. But the caveat I'd give there, and the reason we are moving away from just straight comedy, although I agree with Lily, we are always looking for, even for sort of non-comedic shows we're working on, we're always looking for comic talent, for whether we're asking for a real comic sensibility or whether we want the kind of ability to think on your feet, the ability to do improv, all those things that are sort of endemic to being in the comedy space. It travels so well to other sort of unscripted or docuseries or talk show formats. But the reason we don't do as much straight comedy is actually it comes down to brands and some of the economics of what we're doing specifically. And this may not be the same for you, Bernie and Lily, or anybody else who's watching, but one of our important revenue streams is integrating brands into some of our content. And while most brands want to be a part of things that are fun, they're not always looking for like, we want a comedy series. And weirdly, sometimes that is something that is positioned as straight up comedy is actually less attractive to some of the brands we're looking for. I think partially that's just because I think comedy can be perceived as more controversial, maybe, or maybe it's perceived, and I don't know that I agree with this perception. Maybe it's perceived as not being as safe as some of the other formats. But when we go out with something that seems like a no-brainer, this is a straight comic series, we have less success in bringing brands in, and therefore, like, it kind of moves us away. So we'll often use that kind of talent, but we'll put them into maybe darker or different kinds of formats rather than straight up comedy.
That I just want to add to that, Kev. I actually 2 points. I'll try to keep it quick. The first one is what you said about comedians and brands is so spot on, because we've also worked on a number of branded contents. And for those in the audience who don't know, branded often means a company like Starbucks or McDonald's or Nike pays our studios to make content that looks like it's, it's kind of like an advertorial. It looks like, it's something that's original and authentic, but you've got a lot of product integration. And we actually had one with a bank. I'm not going to say which one. Mitch Hurwitz, who created Arrested Development, directed it. We had some amazing comedians who were featured on it, like big names. And it never actually aired because one of the comedians we featured had made a joke 3 years ago that the company found out about, and they axed the whole thing. So that happens. But another thing, again, to go back to Chris's question, comedy, yes, of course, comedy is really sticky. It's something that is very immediately appealing and attractive and translates. But another thing that we're seeing a lot and that my company is looking for is experts. So even if you're not a comedian, if you are an expert in a field, I'm thinking specifically about Seeker, our science brand, Thrillist, which is our food, drink, travel, entertainment brand. NowThis is news and social justice. So there's if you are somebody who is the best in your field at something, and that's coming through, that's something you're a person we want to work with. And you're also a person who the TV networks and the streaming platforms, eventually, if we want to be developing it into something long form, they're going to want as well. Authenticity and, access and being like a head voice in your field.
Awesome. I'm going to add to the kind of specific to the non-comedy side, the drama and thriller side. The reason why, and this is theory and opinion, why I think comedy is so dominant in just content on form is that it can be easy. For a lot of us are filmmakers here, you can lower your production value a little bit and pull off great comedy. It's really hard to lower your production value and pull off great sci-fi or great horror or great drama. You have to be able to immerse your viewer into that dramatic moment or a thriller moment or sci-fi moment. And there are certainly tons of examples of people doing viral sci-fi videos, viral horror pieces that have led to series orders or movie deals or whatever. So there are plenty of those out there, but they are definitely the bar is higher for that stuff because you have that threshold of it's got to feel like a horror, and that just creates a lot. It requires a lot more production value, design, mood, music, all that stuff. And so versus a comedy sketch, the three of us could do a comedy sketch right now if we have one written, literally like this, and it's just the opinion of the audience whether or not that's actually funny or not. So that's just my opinion from having done comedies, dramas, sci-fis in short form. That's where I think the barrier lies.